Chapter 12, Delivering Your Speech, for use with the public speaking projects, Public Speaking, the Virtual Text. Please note that the material in this tutorial will not cover all of the information found within the chapter, and there may be one or two items in this tutorial that might be different than what's also found in Chapter 12. Let's look at some of the different methods of delivery. Each method has its own advantages and disadvantages, its own pros and cons, if you will. The manuscripted style of delivery is where you have your entire speech written out for you, either on paper or on a computer screen or on a teleprompter. An advantage to this style of delivery is you can carefully craft and choose the words that you use in your presentation, and you'll be able to have them in front of you word for word. A disadvantage is this tends to decrease eye contact with members of the audience. The memorized form or memorized method of delivery is where you deliver your presentation from beginning to end just from memory. An advantage to this style of delivery is it allows you to have maximum eye contact with members of your audience, and possibly even allow you to walk around the room a little bit depending upon the room layout, because you don't need to necessarily stand behind a podium. The impromptu method of delivery is kind of spur of the moment, you're given a presentation topic or a speech topic. You may have a limited amount of preparation time or perhaps no preparation time whatsoever. An advantage to this is that you don't have to worry about putting a lot of preparation or a lot of effort into preparing for your presentation. A disadvantage is, of course, you don't have any notes or manuscript to rely on, and therefore it might be a little more challenging to pick up where you left off if you forgot something. The extemporaneous method of delivery is kind of somewhere between memorized and manuscripted methods of delivery. In the extemporaneous style of delivery, you do prepare in advance for your presentation, and you do bring an outline or some kind of shorthand or a note cards to work from, but you do not write your speech out word for word, and you don't memorize it from beginning to end. So it's kind of somewhere in between the manuscripted and memorized styles of delivery. An advantage of this style of delivery is that it allows you to have more eye contact than a manuscripted style of delivery, and it also tends to sound a little bit more spontaneous or a little bit more natural than a manuscripted style. And however, a disadvantage is that it does require a bit of time, energy, and effort to prepare for it. Okay, under vocal delivery, first we take a look at articulation. This basically is how you articulate your words during your presentation. Next is pronunciation, how you pronounce your words. And how you pronounce your words can, to some extent, be affected by your accent or your dialect. Different parts of the country have different dialects, and people from different countries can also have different dialects, even if you are both native English speakers. One style of English might be different than the other. Also, our pitch and our vocal inflection can affect our delivery style as well. Some other vocal qualities include the speaking rate. This is how fast or how slow you speak. Also, the use of pauses can impact your presentation or your speech. You might use a pause for dramatic effect, or you might pause for a moment or two to allow the audience to think about something and reflect on something you have just said. Also, your vocal projection, or how loud your voice comes across to the audience, is another vocal quality. If you're not using a microphone, you might want to speak as loudly as you comfortably can to help ensure that the members of your audience can hear your voice clearly from the back of the room. Some of the aspects of nonverbal delivery include our physical appearance. How are we dressed? Are we wearing any kinds of jewelry? Do we have any tattoos that are visible to the audience? And so forth. Our physical appearance. How is our hair? and things of that nature. Also, any movement or gestures, whether they be facial gestures or hand gestures, or if we're moving from away from the podium to come closer to the audience, or moving back to the podium, those are also examples of nonverbal delivery. And perhaps one of the most important forms of nonverbal delivery, or one of the most important components or things to keep in mind, is having good eye contact with your audience. Generally speaking, it's important to try and maintain as much eye contact as possible with your audience, and try not to look at your notes unless you need to refer back to them. And it's okay to refer back to them. Just try and make sure you have well over half, probably 70 to 75% of your speaking time making good eye contact with members of your audience. If you can, try to visit the place where you'll be delivering your speech beforehand. In other words, if you're speaking in a room, try to visit that room and check out the room layout. See what kind of equipment is there. Will you be speaking with a microphone? If you're using PowerPoint, will you have a remote control clicker to assist you? How large is the room? How does your voice carry in the room? Getting comfortable and familiar with that room can help you to imagine delivering your presentation and being successful before you get to the venue and deliver your speech to your audience. It's important to try to be prepared by rehearsing your speech in advance. Try to rehearse your speech several times in advance until you feel comfortable with the material in your presentation. And when you rehearse, try rehearsing at least a few times with a timer or a stopwatch to see how long it takes you to go from the beginning all the way through to the end of your presentation or your speech. And as you become comfortable through rehearsing, this can allow you to help manage your stress a little bit better, because you'll be more familiar with the content in your speech. The Public Speaking Project's textbook, Public Speaking, the Virtual Text, can be found at www.publicspeakingproject.org.